Hi, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to today's session. I'm delighted to welcome you to another exciting session under our STEM development series, delivered through the American Spaces Support and Strategic Program initiated by Mobile Web Ghana, supported by the U.S. Embassy Ghana. I'm presenting live from American Corner Abuba, and I'm the coordinator for this space. So this series is designed to equip young people, students, educators, entrepreneurs, and professionals with practical STEM and digital skills that can help them thrive in the increasingly technology-driven world. So today's topic is about how to build a website without coding. And it's very, very important, we all must say, because having an online presence has become very essential for personal branding, for business growth, for community engagement and innovation. And the good news is that creating a website is no longer limited to software engineers and professional programmers. With the right tools and guidance, anyone can build a functional and professional website. So today we have in our midst a very well vested expert to come and take us through today's session. And before I call him in, I want you to just drop your name in the chat, where you are joining us from, and then do you currently have a website, a yes or no, and then let's keep the ball rolling. So it's my pleasure to introduce our facilitator for today, and his name is Eugene Afful. He's a creative entrepreneur, web developer, and founder of Creator House. He is passionate about helping businesses and individuals to use digital tools to build impactful brands and online experiences. He also has a background in web development, digital marketing, brand strategy, and creative media. So I would hand it over to Eugene. Thank you so much for joining us once again. And please do well to share this with any other colleagues of yours so that everyone would benefit from this impactful session. Over to you, Eugene. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Stella. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, so thank you very much, Estella, once again, and thank you very much, everyone here, for joining today's session. Like Estella mentioned, the workshop is part of the American Spaces Strategic and Supporting or Supportive Program under the STEM Development Series, I guess. Now, before we dive in, I would like to introduce myself properly. I'm Eugene Afful, founder of Creator House. We are a creative tech agency, and over the years, we've worked with startups, entrepreneurs, to basically help them build a powerful online presence, starting from nothing. So basically, no website, no branding, like that. And then, gradually giving them the right marketing tools that they need. So I'm hoping that at the end of the day, we can also benefit from all the branding strategies that we know, specifically how to get your website up and running. Now, so I'll quickly talk about, please, can you see my slides?
Yes, please, we can.
You can see it. Okay. Um, okay. All right. So let me quickly run you through what the agenda for the next 60 minutes is going to be, so you know exactly what to expect. Now, first, we'll talk about why every business needs a website in the first place, or everybody needs a website in the first place. Secondly, I will introduce you to the no-code toolkit, the website builders that make this possible, that makes it possible for us not to code and still have our website. And thirdly, we will also cover the planning phase, because a great website usually starts on paper, not on the laptop, not on the screen. And so we need to look at that. Fourth, this is going to be the fun part where we're going to do the step-by-step live walkthrough on how to actually build a website from scratch. And then we will look at some tips that will make our website look good and look professional. Finally, we will also go live and then, make sure that we are being found on the web, online. So by the end of the day, at least you know how to run everything from scratch to having a website running. So that will be the order for the day. So let's start with the why. Let's let's start with why we need a website. Some of us might be thinking, I already have Instagram and WhatsApp business. Why isn't that enough? But let's look at the numbers here. There are 5.4 billion internet users worldwide right now. 5.4 billion. That's more than half of the people on the planet Earth, right? All of them online, all of them searching, all of them browsing, and most of them trying to buy something online. And here's a number that should really get your attention. 81% of consumers research on business online before they buy. I mean, most of us here, if we want to buy something online, we definitely would want to search and see if we can make sure that where we are buying from, these people are legit, so that we don't get scammed. And so if someone can't find you or your presence on social media, I mean, that algorithm can even bury you. So if somebody can't find you there, then you are invisible to most people, So having a website that works 24/7 while you are sleeping, I think that's a flex, and that is why businesses need a website. I mean, whilst you are asleep, your website is open. Your website is already answering questions that people are asking. It's showing your product. If you are not selling anything and you are providing a service to your website, is consistently building trust for you. And a professional website gives you three credible or credibility, let me just say like that, credibility than basically relying on social media. Okay, social media is a rental place. I mean, we all know that. But if you have a website, it's something that you own. It's more or less like a real estate that you own. Okay, and that is what we are trying to let people know so that they can try and build their own website. Now, the no-code website builders, there are so many tools or content management platforms that we can use to build a website without coding. So if you don't need to code, what do you actually use? These are some of the toolkits that you can use. The very first one is WordPress. Now, WordPress is a content management system or software that is very, very robust and great for blogging, business websites, and fairly easy to use. I'm saying fairly easy to use because WordPress is the order of the day now, right? And most businesses and most websites you see online are being robustly designed with WordPress. And then I use fairly easy to use because there are some sophistication when it comes to using WordPress. But anybody from scratch, from a beginner level, can use WordPress, and then they will be able to have a very stunning website. We also have Wix. Wix is very, very fantastic for creative and portfolio website sites, and one of the easiest tools to use at all, the easiest tools to use out there. It's basically drag and drop, but usually I find Wix to be a space where you cannot really show a lot of sophistication. And as you climb, the subscription ladder, you have to get to premium before you be able to enjoy the most benefits from it. But for beginners, you can always use Wix, and then you can climb to a different no-code tool as you wish. We also have Squarespace. Squarespace has a very beautiful and premium design to it, and it's very, very solid for e-commerce website. It also works just like WordPress. It's also a content management software as well. And then we have Shopify. Shopify is specifically made for online stores. And so depending on the the type of website you're going for, if you're going for a business website, if you're going for a portfolio website, a landing page, an event page, and all of that, the type of tool to use. We also have Google Sites. So Google Site is completely free. Okay, Google Site is completely free, and it's perfect for blog and news portals. Yeah, because it has a lot of tools that supports information on Google Sites. And we also have Webflow. Webflow also gives you more or less like a designer level control, right? But it has a very steeper learning curve. And so anybody that wants to use Webflow to its fullest should have a bit of design background for you to, play your cards very well with the tools that we have there. But for today's live demo, we will try as much as possible to stick with WordPress and maybe Wix, since both of them are, beginner friendly, and it offers like a lot of free tier to get you started without even paying a penny. And for most websites, you find them, sticking with the free tier. So that's will be what we will be doing. That will be the tool we'll be using, WordPress and Wix maybe. Yeah. Now, before you plan building your website, here's a mistake I see a lot of people do all the time. People jump straight into the website builders before planning anything. All they know is that, oh, I want a website. Okay, what tool do I need? They jump on the tool and then they start working. But that almost always leads to wasted hours and messy results because you don't know, you haven't planned how you want your website to be. Usually people find already existing websites online and they tell themselves, this is what I need. Oh, I want a website similar to this. And then they start cloning what they see. But every website has the reason why they are the way they are. And so for you also have to plan your website. Now, before you plan or before you start working on your website, there are these questions you need to ask yourself. So, what is the purpose of the website? All right. Who is the target audience? Who is going to visit the website? How do I design in such a way that is going to grab their attention anytime they visit the website? Okay. What pages do I actually need? Do you need a home page? Do you need an about us page? Do you need a services page? Or do you even need to direct them straight to the contact? And so the contact has to be the first page, all right? Also, what actions should visitors take when they visit your website? Are you selling a product? And is there any button they need to see that they need to hit on it before experiencing what you have to offer on the website? Also ask yourself, do you provide a service or you sell a product? All of these are going to like help you plan your website in a very fine way. So once all of these questions are answered, then you now know your must-have pages. Okay, yeah, you now know that, right? I need a home page, the page where everybody lands on and it gives brief about my business and everything before they dive into. All right, that's the home page. And every home page has to be the one that creates the strongest first impression. Okay. And then you have your About Us page that can tell your story. You have your services or your products page. You have your portfolio pages for some of the businesses that we run. And also, you have your contact us page for anybody that will want to reach you. Okay. So this would be how you'd have to plan the website before you actually even start to build a website. Okay. Now, this is the moment a lot of us have been waiting for. I'll share my screen and then we will go through the step-by-step approach on how to build a website. But before that, we can just go through the steps that we have here. So the very first thing to do before you start your website is to make sure that you sign up and choose a template. So what do I mean by signing up and choosing a template? Now, before you land a website, you need a domain name and then a hosting plan. Okay, so the domain name is so for example, your business name is Creator House in our case. Now, for you to be on a website, you need a unique ID, a unique name that would direct people to your website. All right. Now, your hosting plan or your hosting package or server, like people like to call it, is where your website is going to be stored on the internet. And so, like every house, you need a door to the house, okay, or a gate to the house. And so your domain name serves as the gate to the house. And without that gate, you will never enter. Okay. So the hosting is where all your storage and everything is, all the information that you want people to see, that's where we house it. And then you use your domain name to access that. So domain names, all of us, I'm sure we know, example is facebook.com. So if you want to access Facebook, whatever they have on their server, you need the facebook.com as a domain name to access that. If you want to access Google, you need google.com to do that. If you want to see what Creator House has in store for you, you need to access Creator House through www.creatorhouse.com for you to have access to it. Okay, so you need your domain name, you need your hosting in place, and then if we are using WordPress in our case, what we are about to do, you then need to sign up on WordPress and then choose a template, which we are going to do. So basically, you create a free account, you pick your template that matches whether your industry or your activity or the service or the product that you want to sell. Don't really overthink this because later, as we work along, you see how it is, and then we can make changes all the time. After that, you'd also have to consider your branding. Okay, so where's your logo? You need to add your logo. What are your brand colors? You need to make sure that you have them. What kind of fonts goes well with your branding? You really have to identify them and make them reflective on your website. Okay. And now we will move on to our pages. You drag and drop and then build a few pages. So our headers, our text, we put our images where they are supposed to be. We put our buttons where they are supposed to be, and a few texts if we need them. Okay. And then we add our media, our content. All right. We have to put in our clear copy. So for example, the information we want people to read about us, we put it there. Do we have any professionally looking images of us that we want to showcase? or our portfolio that we want to showcase. That's where we embed all those information, right? And then finally, we're going to preview and view so that we can check, click, see how it looks. For some of us who would want to go a step further from this workshop, you can, take your time, design your website on your own, see how it looks on mobile, see how it looks on the desktop. If you have to fix any typo errors, links that are broken and all of that, you will be able to do that. And then you publish your website, and then immediately you try and share it across for anybody to know that, hey, you have a website now, and that is what we will be doing shortly. So I will share my screen, and then we can go through. But before that, do we have any questions so far?
Okay, I think not yet. There's nothing in the chat box about a question, so I think we can just go ahead. But if
Okay.
you have a question, please drop it in the chat box and then Eugene will address it. All right, thank you. Okay, so I think I have a question from Jude. He's asking that please, okay, the presentation, don't worry, we'll tackle that at the end of the session. And then he's asking that do you need to buy a domain and host?
Yes. Yes, thank you very much for the question. Yes, so like I said earlier, every website needs a hosting package and a domain name. Okay, so you need a domain name and hosting to be able to create a website. All right. Creating the website on itself can only survive on your laptop if you don't host it online. Okay, so you can actually create a website from scratch on your laptop, but if you want to publish it, then you need to host all the content you've created on the website, host it on your server, which is online, and that is where the hosting package comes to play because we have a very huge server there, and then we have service providers who sell parts of these servers. And so you host your website on their server, and then you make payments for it monthly or annually or whatever package you might have with the service provider. And like I also said, you need a domain name for your website. So yes, those two are very, very necessary whenever you want to build a website. Now, in situations whereby you don't want to code from scratch, now it's very easy to build your website on your computer if you have a lot of coding skills. So that way, if you meet any bugs on the way, you'll be able to quickly fix it. Even with WordPress, sometimes you have to fix bugs once you are doing it locally on your laptop. But when you are building your website in an already existing hosting server, it's easy for you to co-create with the hosting company, for example, and then they basically fix all the bugs that you need for you in the server as they welcome, your website on the server. So that is it. Basically, I mean, that's what I tell people that I help build websites all the time. You can start building on the platform where your website will be hosted on, so that way, as you are building, you are basically fixing the bugs that you need. You don't want to complete it and then move your website to the hosting platform, and now a lot of things are not merging properly because the environment is different from, sometimes the template you use, sometimes some plugins that you use. So that is what I recommend. The fact that you are building your website live online doesn't mean that that is what everybody will be seeing. Okay. There's a time where you decide to publish it. And also there's a time where you decide to, if you have to do changes on your website, there's a time where you put your website on maintenance mode, for example, and then you don't get any issues. So I'll quickly show you. Yeah. So this is an example of a hosting service provider. Now, this is a Ghanaian-owned hosting provider. They have very cheap packages. I am not in any way marketing for them, but StomaHost, we've been using StomaHost for some of our clients, some of our local clients, people who don't really want to spend a fortune on a website, but they still want to be visible online. They want a stable server that will serve them, for a long time. And so we use StomaHost. And personally, for Creator House, we've never had issues with StomaHost. So as you can see, their webs hosting starts from 108 cities a year. Okay, so with 108 cities the entire year, you'd have your server running for you. And I think the domain names are also similar. It's similar, something like that. So give or take 200 cities, you should have your website running for you all the time. Okay. Now, for the WordPress, like I said, you have to set yourself up. Now, WordPress has made it very, very easy for anybody to get up and running through installations from hosting packages or hosting platforms like, for example, StomaHost. So I'll quickly take you through and then we will get ourselves started. So first things first, you always have to create an account with a hosting company. So in my case, I already have an account with StomaHost, and so I just had to log in my account. As it stands, I only have one service here, and then I have 9 domains that I am managing on this server, right? So I'll quickly go into my server, and then I will start creating the WordPress site for us to enjoy. So inside the server panel, inside the cPanel, you realize that there are a lot of tools here. Okay, a lot of tools that you can have access to. You have your email tools, so you can actually create email addresses for your website. So if you have creatorhouse.com, you'll be able to create maybe Adam@creatorhouse.com or Elvis@creatorhouse.com or Felix@creatorhouse.com, and that becomes your professional email. So you can do all of that here. Okay. Now, I will not bore you with the details, maybe later. But like I said, WordPress makes it very, very easy for anybody to start a fresh installation from any hosting platform. And so when you come under my tools here, you see WordPress Manager by SoftwareClause. So you go there quickly and then we'll create our website. Please, at any given point in time, if you want to stop me and get to understand how things are going, please do. And then I will give you better clarification on that. Okay. So when you come on the WordPress Manager by SoftwareClause, that is where you'll be able to do your installation. Okay. So you see install, we have scan, we have remote import, we have manage sets and all of that. Now you quickly go to installation if you want to do a fresh installation. When you want to scan for a website that you've already done the installation on WordPress, if you want to, for example, you can have a lot of websites listed. And if you want to scan for a specific website, you go to scan and you'll be able to scan for websites that has issues that needs to be fixed. Okay. If you have a website on a different server or on your laptop that you have to import and start managing it online, you can go to the remote import and you'll be able to import that. So you realize that on the left side, you have different types of websites you can create with WordPress, or you can install with WordPress from the SoftAclos panel. So you have blogs, you can create portals and CMS. So for example, voting portals, for school management portals, you can create all of them with WordPress. If you have a forum panel like Forum 360, BBC 360, you can create all of them with WordPress. If you're a photographer that needs an image gallery to display your photographs and videos to clients, you can use the image galleries and you can do that. You can also create a search engine or directory like Google or any other directory with the wikis. You can create calendars, mail, there are a lot of things you can create with WordPress, but usually people don't look at it from that angle. They think that all you can create is just a standard website. But no, there are a lot you can create with WordPress. Okay. So we will quickly create a fresh installation. And because we already have um, our domain name, all we do is we put in the details we need for our domain. So for example, for the purpose of this training, the domain name we've created is realtorphotos.com, right? And it's a domain name that we already have. So we have a lot of domain names here. And if that's the domain name that you have purchased, that is what will appear. And then you select that domain name. Okay. And then you go to your site setting, you put in the name of your site. So by default, it's going to give you my blog. You can call it first website, maybe my first website limited, for example. And then your site description. Okay, so this is a description of your site, what your site is about, what your site does. Now, these kind of information they are very, very necessary for when you really want to be optimized for search engines like Google, for example. If somebody wants to search for maybe a photographer, for example, and then they go online and then they search for photographers within their region or nearby them, they should be able to find you among the list. Okay. And some of these metadata we provide when we are creating a website, that is what the search engine algorithm picks, and we're able to rank easily. There are so many sophisticated tools and methodologies that we can use to rank on Google, but these are the basics. And so if you don't want to spend money, you need to make sure that you are providing information for every single, panel that you're supposed to provide information for, because it really, really helps your business, right? So for example, your site description, you have to put your site description there, and then you go to your admin account. So your admin accounts basically, so for WordPress, we have the front end of the site and then the back end of the site, just like any other website. For developers, we have the luxury to code the website from scratch from the back end of the website. And then what anybody online sees as our website becomes the front end of the website. Okay, so similarly to WordPress, because we are not going to code and all of that, WordPress has an admin panel for us where we do all our adjustments and what we want people to see on our website. And so we will need an account for that. Okay, so we create the admin account by putting our admin username We put our email address there, sorry, our password, and then we put our admin email there for us. I'm sure by now most of us know how to perfectly create a website. Sorry, create a password that is not easily hackable. Right. So as you are creating the WordPress or as you are installing the WordPress, by default, it gives you certain plugins. So when we say plugins, plugins are more or less like tools that assist you to build your website properly. Now, WordPress is just a clean sheet that it gives you, but there are plugins that helps you to, for example, if you want to create a form on the website, because you don't want to code from scratch, we have a tool that assists you to build a form on the website. And these little tools are what we call the plugins. And as we progress, or as anybody find the zeal in learning more about website, you will be able to understand to details what exactly plugins are. So we already have an AI assistant too on the website on our WordPress when we are done. We also have a cookie consent. We have a forms builder. We have a backups tool, sorry, plugin. So a backups plugin basically helps you to back your files up anytime you want to. All right. And this is very, very necessary. For example, if you want to keep your archives, because you never know, the internet is the internet, anything can happen. Your website can be hacked, your domain or your hosting plan could die, and you might not have access to all of these things. So you're able to, back whatever information you get on the website. We also have Speedy Cache. We have Site SEO. It helps improve your SEO, your search engine optimization on the website. So these are some of the plugins that by default you will install while you are doing your WordPress installation. Of course, the language you want to interact in and build your website in, you also select, and then you hit installation or install, and then you get your website installed. Once your website is installed, you have access to your front end, and then you have access to your back end. Okay, that is how it works. So I will take you straight to the websites that or WordPress that I hmm, recently installed. Okay, let me. Okay, let me stop and then open it quickly. If we have any questions to this point, we can please ask as we go on. Let's see.
Think I'm just going through the chat.
Okay,
No
I'm trying
questions
to.
yet.
Okay, that's good. I'm trying to open the website quickly. Okay. see. All right, so we have a domain name here, learn.creatorhouse.com. So we need to follow and create a new, so a site name. So let's say, then we put our description. Okay. And then we put in admin username. For this purpose, I'm going to keep it as user. And the admin password, I'll make it, I will blend both caps, upper caps and lower caps. So I will make it creator, I'll make it academy. And maybe I'll add some character to it, add a year to it, for example. And then I'll use my personal email. As the admin email. I want English, and then I'll start the installation. I think I have, yeah, I already have an installation on it. I already have an installation on it, so let me change this. Let me change this. Let's see. Okay, let me use Realtor. So I can use Realtor. And I can use photos. Yep. Oh, looks like I already have. Okay, let's just access it because I already have installations on them. So okay. Where is it? Okay. So okay. Um, okay. Kindly give me a minute. Let me just open one that is working.
Right, so as we wait for Eugene to get back on the presentation, you can just drop your questions in the chat box, and it will be well addressed. I think I see someone asking if this session is recorded. Yes, it's live on Mobile Web Ghana YouTube channel, so you can go back and rewatch it if you missed any step. But if you have missed any step, you can actually also drop it in the chat, and then Eugene will just guide you through it. And then I also see, okay, right.
So I will quickly create a new domain, a subdomain for an existing domain, and then we can use that. Okay, so okay. Okay. So user.
All right, so still, as we wait, you can just drop where you're joining us from. We would love to know that in the chat box. And then if you have actually tried this, or you are trying it out right now, just let us know in the chat box as well. I think I see Adam. Adam says that Jude. I see okay.
Um, okay.
All right, okay.
Let me use this. Then that's the installation. Thanks. All right, so I am starting a fresh installation. I just created a new domain name to start the fresh installation. Estelle, I think I heard you said some participants are creating alongside. Was that right?
Yes,
Oh,
I asked that question,
okay.
but I've not seen a response yet on the chat box if anyone has any
Okay.
HS anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
I wanted to ask, so with the method by which you brought us to WordPress, what if somebody has no access to Stomach host or anything, and they are just starting from straight away from WordPress? Will it have the same
Hello,
Hi,
Estelle.
Eugene.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I lost you
yes, please.
somewhere.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I was asking that with the method you used, you brought us to the platform using the Stoma host platform, right? So what if somebody is not coming from that, but is coming straight from WordPress? Will you have the same outlook or it will be different?
It will be different. Do you mean when you're coming from a different hosting platform or just from, yeah, from a different hosting platform? It will be different, but the only thing that still will be the same is the WordPress manager by the Softaculous. It's on all hosting platforms. Can you hear me, Estella?
Yeah, I can hear you, Eugene. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So the WordPress installation procedure that I'm showing you here is the same across all hosting platforms. It's the same thing. The only thing that changes is where you really want to host your website. Apart from that, the cPanel will be everywhere you find yourself.
Mm, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome. Usually for starters, I don't like to recommend a bigger hosting platforms for them because most of them are outside the country and then you make payments in USD. So if you really don't want to um, spend a lot of money, then there's a local hosting platform or company that you can work with. And personally, Stomahost. So for most of the students that we take through website development and all of that, we use Stomahost for them. And most of the websites you see, the domain names you see, most of them are for students and brand owners who are trying to build their own website by themselves. Yeah. So it really helps save stress and then cost. And these people are here. They are here in Ghana, so you can call them anytime you want, and then they can assist and support you whenever you need it. So, yeah.
Okay.
But like I said, you can also have a local host on your laptop and
Mm-hmm.
still, do your WordPress installation. So with that, you need the WordPress, you need to install it on your local host, and then you can start
Right.
working with it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
sounds good. I think we're at 95% away.
Yes. Um, Miraculously,
But
I
whilst
mean,
we're at it,
yeah.
yeah, you're saying something.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I was just saying that I had, I mean, you remember I told you about the server issue, right? So I
Yes.
created everything there and then all of a sudden they just went off. So, mm,
Um,
well, let me work on it quickly on the back end.
okay. So whilst you're at it, there's a question from Adam. He's asking that what security features do hosting platforms and website builders offer, especially for someone creating an e-commerce website? And how do they help protect customer data and ensure safe user access?
Estella, please, can you, come
Do
with
you
the
want me to
question
go?
again? Yeah.
Okay, sure. So the question is from Adam. He says that what security features, do hosting platforms and website builders offer, especially for someone creating an e-commerce website? And how do they help protect customer data and ensure safe? Hi, Eugene.
Yeah, I can hear you. So if I got a question right, he wants to find out the security features from hosting platforms, right? That can
Yeah,
help maintain maybe website like an e-commerce website. So most modern hosting platforms now and website builders come with several inbuilt security features that helps protect both the website owner and the customers. I mean, in situations of maybe e-commerce, for example, the very first is the SSL certificate where it encrypts your data. So it encrypts data between the visitors. So for example, if you have an e-commerce website where people put in their card details and stuff like that, there has to be an encryption algorithm where it binds the data from visitors and even the website itself. Also, the SSL, a strong SSL certificate protect your login credentials, also customer information, their names, their date of birth, their emails, and like I said, payment details as well. Most platforms like WordPress, Wix, and even Shopify, for example, if you want to go e-commerce route, um, they have free SSL certificates. But usually, if you want to do like serious business, I usually don't like to, vouch for free stuff. So pay for it, get the best that they have to offer, and then you'll be able to, secure that data. And also, there are secure payments processing, for example. So e-commerce platforms can integrate with these trusted payment gateways such as PayPal. I mean, here in Ghana, Flutterwave works, Paystack works. I've been using Flutterwave and Paystack for most of my clients now, and we haven't had issues ever. You know, sensitive payment information is like usually processed securely, on the website, directly on the website, and it is never stored. So, for example, if somebody puts their details there, it's never stored directly on the website for you to have issues. For example, for the website owner to have issues, and also when you build a website, that doesn't end the journey. You have to automatically by default, start doing security updates and security checkups on the website. And that's the reason why website developers come into play, right? Because you need somebody that will consistently be maintaining the website for you, be checking for bugs, making sure that there are no loopholes here and there. So even if you want to build your own website by yourself, at least you can have somebody on standby, right? And then ask the person to, go through your website for you as and when necessary. That is not going to cost you much. It's just making sure that you are safeguarding yourself and people who visit your website. Well, I think all of them, all of the hosting platforms, and website builders, they have automatic updates. It's something that you can set it up. You can have automatic updates that will help fix, these petty vulnerabilities on your website, and it helps remove the burden of you going to somebody and telling them to come manually maintain your website for you here and there, right? And also, they have something that's very, very necessary. They have a malware and threat detection. Okay, so if you've paid for that kind of security feature, of course, many hosting providers can scan your website for you for malicious softwares or activities, any suspicious activity. If somebody is trying to, go through your backend and do whatever, they will be able to detect that for you and help you remove those little things, usually through an alert. They help you with the procedure you go through, and then you can do that. There's even a firewall protection from hosting providers. So firewall, basically your web application firewall, it helps to block hackers, malicious traffic, even before they reach your website. So these are some of the protection. There are plenty. We have the DOS protection and also secure backups. You also have to make sure that you are backing up your website as and when necessary. You are controlling your users as and when necessary. That way, it helps. So if you are somebody that really cares about security, for some websites, like informational websites, standard static website, those people don't really have issues like just like you are saying, like e-commerce website. For people like that, you really have to take security very, very serious. So yeah. So yes, you can secure your website. Yeah. I don't know if I
All right,
answered the
thank you so
question.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can give a
Mm.
thumbs up, Adam, if all your questions have been answered. I think it's just a reminder, our time is really
Yeah,
up.
our time is really
I
up. This is
We can spend a few minutes.
yeah.
Yes.
Mm. can. Mm.
So, Eugene, so how long does it take to roughly build a website? Like
So for a standard simple
roughly.
website, it should take you, you should be able to finish everything within a day. I mean, if you are serious about it at a sitting and it's a normal static website, it should take you about, I mean, for me, for personally, it takes me about like 2 to 3 hours to finish. Yeah, so 2 to 3 hours, and then I'll be done creating an entire website. But for a dynamic website where, information has to be checked before put out, you have to be updating a few things before you make sure that you have. So, for example, an e-commerce website, it will take you a couple of days to get it up and running because there are a lot of plugins here and there. There are a lot of integrations you have to do. For example, an e-commerce website should have a payment integration, all right? And so you need to take your time and make sure that you are integrating the right APIs to get it up and running. Sometimes you might need approval from the payment gateways, PayPal, Stripe. You might need, some verification from them, and that's just a reason why it will take extended days. Yeah, but for starters, if you're creating an e-commerce website, you give or take 3 to 4 days, you should be able to get it done. Yeah, but for a standard website, it's a matter of hours, and you'll be done.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll be done.
Mm.
Mm. I really
So
wish
is the web
I really wish we can have a second part of this if you don't mind. I really, 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 really wish. But let's see. I'm still trying to figure mm,
oh, please come
the
again. I didn't catch the part.
Yeah, I was saying that I really wish we can have like a brief second part of this strictly for the demo part.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
still stuck at
Okay.
95 and I don't know what's going on. But I mean we can
Wow.
still finish up the slides.
Okay, sure, sure. That
Yeah,
would be great. Yeah.
yeah,
We can do it part two for strictly the demo as well. Yeah.
yeah, so that we can oh man, this is terrible. Okay. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. So guys, I will really wish for us to have a second brief part, like a 30 minutes brief part later, so that I can really take you through just the demo part. I'm just still having some issues here with my system. But basically in that part, we will go through just this phase. So the step-by-step way of creating a website. So from setting up, I mean, we're already stuck on setting it up from that part to choosing a template down to previewing and making sure that we have our website complete. Um, that is what I want us to do. But we can continue with the design tips that will help us when we are in the second phase to be able to work on our website properly. Yeah, you don't need a design degree per se to be able to make a site look professional. or look stunning. No, you just have to follow these simple rules, okay? The do's and then the don'ts. So you need to use 2 or 3 branding colors maximum. Now, in a color theory, for example, for most graphic designers know this. In color theory, when you are designing an artwork or any graphical piece, you need to make sure that you are using a maximum of 3 colors. Nothing more than that. Anything more than 3 colors becomes nuisance. Okay, so in design, we have the 60-30-10 rule, where you use 60% of your primary color, the color that you want to show in your branding. And then you have your 30% secondary color, and then you have your accent color, which is the 10%, just a touch of that color. And you can see that from the artwork that we use for this workshop. You can see that the 60-30-10 rule in there. Okay, and that has to apply to your website. All right, that has to apply to your website. You need to, for example, let me open Creator House's website quickly. Okay, I think we can proceed. The internet is already messing with me. So you can use 2 to 3 branding colors maximum. All right. And try all the time to stick with just 1 or 2 fonts. And this is what we'll be doing in our second part. We will try as much as possible to stick with 2 fonts. Okay. And also, you try as much as possible to use high quality, relevant images. You don't want your website to look clumsy, to look like you don't know what you're doing. And during that second part, I'll help everyone to know how to select the right photographs for display on your website. Now, as you are doing all of this, you try as much as possible to leave a lot of white spaces. Well, when I say white spaces, it's basically when you're designing, don't crowd a lot of information on the website. Okay, some information must be left out for curiosity's sake. All right. You also make sure that you are putting a very clear call to action on every single page. Every single page. Okay. So on your home page, that is where you put briefs of what you do. There has to be a call to action on that page. On your About Us page, where you tell people about your story or what you do, you still have to leave a call to action there. So at every point in time on your website, there's a place where somebody can just go if they've had enough, all right, information. And that is what makes your website looks professional. Okay. We also try as much as possible not to use low resolution images or stocky photos. So, for example, images that are royalties to other people on your website. The more you do that, the less you rank on Google. And this is something people don't know, right? YouTube is not, Google is not going to stop you from using Getty images or images that has, been copyrighted to people. They will not stop you. You can use it for all you can, but that's where your website will land. Okay, it will never rank on Google. It will never rank anywhere. When you type best photographers in Ghana, your name will not pop up. In most cases, when you type your name itself, Creator House, you have to scroll down before you see Creator House there. All right. So we try as much as possible not to do that. Okay. All right. Also, if your website is an informational website or even just a photographer, for example, and you want to put videos on your website, try not to put autoplay videos or music. So for example, don't put videos where the moment you load a page, the video starts playing. No. When you do that, one, It's going to eat up your memory space. It's also not going to allow people to have best of experience when they open your website. But there's a way you can do that, and I will try and show you in our second part. We have the same thing on Creator House. When you go on Creator House website, I think our portfolio, you can see some videos that are playing there. But that's a different scenario, and I will show you how to do that. So let's try to follow these simple rules. Okay, these simple design tips that makes your website looks good and professional. And if we do that, you wouldn't have to hire a designer. Your website will be polished and it will look very, very, very incredible. Okay, so that'll be it. I think we're going to go to the SEO. And so we will also keep the SEO for later, because once we go live, I would like to show everyone how to do basic search engine optimizations in such a way that anybody online will be able to find your website. Okay, publishing your website, that's not all. That's half of the job. Now you need people to actually find you online, and that is another thing. Okay, but the good news is that you don't need an SEO expert. You'll be able to fix these things yourself. If you look at some of the things I highlighted on the display, you see that you have to choose a clear domain name. Okay, so no clumsy names. A simple, clear name, very short, memorable, and easy to spell. And like I said earlier, you also have to write all your descriptive pages, all your titles, all your relevant keywords of your niche. You need to put it in place so that Google will be able to show the snippets of it and then, make you up and live. And also, all of us hoping to open businesses, let's try and register Google My Business. That is a very easy and simple way to bypass SEO from Google. If you have Google My Business, it's easy because that way it's like more or less like a free listing that puts you on Google Maps, on local search, and that way Google search optimization can easily pick things up for you. So that is that is
All
what we'll
right.
be looking at when we have to do the search engine optimization. So I think basically that is it. So we have our key takeaways here. Sadly, we were not able to complete that part. So I'll also leave that part for when we have to do the part two. So if we have any questions now, we can ask. All right, thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Eugene. Thank you. I think that we understand how sometimes there can be glitches in our gadgets and our internet and all that. But as you mentioned, that we can actually do a part two, and so we'd share that in our chat box and as well in terms of how to connect with us. So do connect with us. It's Mobile Web Ghana on our various socials, and so that whenever we post the session in terms of the updates, you would get all that information, and you can join and not miss out on anything. Thank you all for once. Staying with us through it all. Thank you so much, Eugene, for taking us through it, from how to build a good website and taking us through all the details. Sometimes we just have to just get a platform, but we've learned a lot that we actually have to have a lot of information that is well kept out before we start even getting on the platform in the first place. So thank you all for joining us once again. Please do well to fill our survey to help us to improve our future sessions for you as well. And I wish you the best throughout the day. Have a great day. Bye. And this is also live on Mobile Web Ghana YouTube channel. So please do well to subscribe and then watch this session and other sessions that we've actually had throughout this year as well. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Eugene, once again for taking us through this session. Have a great day. Bye.